I need a break to figure myself out, no contact. She said that while zipping a beach bag. New bikini still had the tag on. No fight. No warning. Just that line. Like I was an old subscription she forgot to cancel. I didn't ask where she was going, just stepped aside. My name is Dean, 42. I coordinate academic programs at a public high school. It's not the loud kind of job, but it means when the math teacher calls in sick, I find the sub. When the heating breaks in February, I'm the one who gets the call. Every fire drill, I'm the guy holding the clipboard, checking names in the cold. People think I'm organized. Truth is, I just don't like things falling apart. I never missed a payment on the mortgage, took her car for service every 6 months, picked her mom up from physical therapy every Thursday for 2 years. Sometimes we'd sit in the driveway a minute longer than needed. She'd tell me how the therapist looked like her late husband from behind. I don't say this to brag. I just don't believe in letting things break when they can be maintained. Even people. After she left, I went to the kitchen, canceled the anniversary reservation she didn't know I had made. 2 nights in the mountains. No refund, but I didn't care. I took down the photo frame by the coffee maker, the one from the street festival in Asheville with the blue lights behind us, put it face down in the drawer next to the can opener. Then I opened the junk drawer, pulled out the magnet with the cartoon moose on it, the one she brought back from that weekend trip with friends. I stared at it for a second, then dropped it straight in the trash. I logged into our phone account, removed her number from the plan, removed the backup card from my Amazon too. Quiet steps. No text. No, what changed? Just closure in pieces. I walked to the study, opened the folder on the desk. It had her name on it. Bills I'd paid. Receipts from last Christmas. Copies of her grad school application. I didn't open anything. Just selected all, renamed it to archive. Closed it. The next day I handed my principal the new schedule grid. He nodded, impressed. Asked if I'd worked late. I told him I slept fine. On the way back to my office, I passed the staff lounge. Someone had brought muffins. I took the last one. Blueberry. She used to hate those. That night, Liam, an old friend from college, sent me a text. No message, just an image. A screenshot from Facebook. Her mother had tagged her in a photo album titled Family Vacation Week. The third photo, her, standing next to her high school boyfriend, both smiling, his hand clearly around her waist. Caption read, "Old crew back together. Love these two." I stared at it for maybe 5 seconds. Then I locked my phone, walked to the back room, pulled out the empty moving box I'd kept folded behind the file cabinet, started filling it with her things. Then I opened the shared bank account, clicked transfer, paused a second and smiled just a little. We had routines. Sunday mornings, she'd read the paper, real paper, not digital, while I prepped breakfast. 1 egg over medium, avocado toast, Turkish coffee. She always criticized the headlines out loud, then circled job listings she'd never apply to. I never interrupted. I just kept the pan at medium heat. She used to sing off-key while folding laundry. Same song every week, some 2000s pop ballad she never remembered the lyrics to. I'd correct her from the hallway, and she'd throw a sock at the door. She always smiled when she missed. She wanted to adopt a dog that summer. Said we'd name her Clover, after the patch in our backyard she always killed accidentally with her lawn chair. We even visited the shelter once. She cried when we had to leave without one. There were plans. They weren't loud or dramatic, just threads being stitched. A camping trip in October, her birthday in the mountains, a list on the fridge labeled, "Names we don't hate, yet." We were talking about kids. One night she showed me a Zillow listing on her phone. Little craftsman house near the trailhead she liked. I asked if she wanted to schedule a visit. She said, "Just dreaming out loud." But she saved the link. Maybe 3 months before the break, she showed me a message. "Look who added me," she said. It was her high school boyfriend, Landon. The name meant nothing to me then. She laughed it off, said he was probably fat and divorced now, and showed me a selfie he'd sent, him at a grill with 2 beers. I said, "Nice grill." She smirked. Too bad he was terrible at commitment. Then she deleted the chat, right in front of me, or pretended to. She never mentioned him again. Her mother adored me. Whenever I dropped her off from appointments, she'd press a Werther's into my palm like I was still 12. She used to say, "You're the steady one. I thank God she found you." When the bathroom tiles cracked in her condo, I fixed them myself. Didn't charge her, didn't tell her daughter. One afternoon after her session, she reached for my hand before getting out of the car, held it for a second too long, then whispered, "Don't let her drift too far." I didn't notice it right away what changed, but it wasn't big, just rhythms shifting. She stopped wearing the necklace her mom gave her for her 30th, started sleeping with her phone under the pillow, turned the ringer off when she was in the shower, left her laptop closed more often. Nothing you'd fight over, just details. Dust on glass. She forgot our dentist appointment, didn't text when her meeting ran long. When I asked how her day was, the answer started coming 2 seconds too fast. She still smiled, still made her weird rice salad I hated and pretended I loved, still said "love you" before bed, still asked if I'd walk her mom through that new TV remote setup on Sunday. Then one day, I came home to find her closet half empty. Nothing missing, just rearranged. A suitcase under the bed had been zipped closed. The laundry basket had only my things. She told me later she hadn't decided anything yet. But I knew. That night I heard her whispering in the kitchen. Not urgent, just soft. Something about dates aligning and keeping it low-key. I didn't move, didn't ask. But when the voice on the other end said, "I'll book it for both of us," I knew it wasn't her mother. I didn't ask questions, but I started paying attention. Her passwords had changed. She used to leave her laptop open on the kitchen counter while she showered. Now it was zipped in her backpack. Even the screen timeout got shorter. She smiled more. Ironically, not at me. To her phone. During dinner. While brushing her teeth. I once asked what was funny. She said it was a meme from work. She turned the screen before I could see. The word work started covering more ground. Book club became a strategy meeting. Brunch with her cousin turned into internal alignment. One night she left the house in heels, said it was for a team dinner. I found the heels by the front door the next morning, still clean. I didn't follow her, didn't dig through her phone, but I stopped cleaning the counter where she left her mail. One envelope was from a resort in Lake George, addressed to her but with no return name. Inside was a receipt. 2 guests, weekend booking, a king suite. She never mentioned it. Her mother asked why she hadn't been coming by on Sundays, said she missed her, said the house felt quiet. I lied, said we were just busy. She nodded, but she was staring at my hands. They were shaking slightly. Then came the photos. I wasn't looking for them. I don't think I was even ready. Her cousin tagged her in a family album on Facebook, vacation in Hilton Head. There was one photo where she wasn't looking at the camera. She was laughing, turned slightly toward a man who looked too familiar. It was Landon, the same face, less beer now, more muscle, tan, confident. He had his arm around her waist like it belonged there. She was wearing the necklace she lost 2 months ago. That's when I stopped sleeping. I didn't confront her, didn't even change the sheets. Just started spending more time at school, even after hours. Took extra shifts monitoring exams, filing supply orders. It was easier than pretending. She came home one night, later than usual. She saw me at the table with a notepad. Said, "Grading again?" I said yes. She didn't ask what. I wasn't holding any papers. She kissed my forehead and walked past. I watched her shoes from under the table. They were wet. It hadn't rained in our part of town. That night, she forgot to log out of her iCloud. A photo synced to the shared iPad we never used anymore. Her feet in the sand, 2 wine glasses. His voice faint but clear. Next year, we'll bring the kids. She left for a personal retreat 2 days later. No apology, no confrontation, just a note. I need space to figure myself out. Please don't contact me. She didn't sign it. I respected her request. I packed her remaining clothes in vacuum bags, folded her books into clean boxes, shipped everything to her parents' house with tracking numbers. Then I cleared her side of the bathroom. When her mother called 2 days later, her voice cracked. She said you kicked her out, that you threatened to throw her things on the lawn. I didn't respond, just emailed the receipt from the courier. There was a long pause. Then her mother said quietly, I wish you had told me the truth before she left. Her mother showed up unannounced 3 days later. She said she came to return a casserole dish, but she didn't bring a bag. She stood in the doorway longer than necessary, looked past me into the house, then said, She told me you packed her things, that you didn't say a word. I nodded once. Didn't move. She nodded back. That's what I told her you'd do. She didn't stay for coffee, just left the dish on the porch table and walked back to her car. She didn't look at me again. While clearing out the hallway drawer, I found a post-it, her handwriting. It said, Don't forget the bakery closes at 5. Underneath it, love you, always. I placed it in the trash, then took it back out and burned it in the sink. One night, I saw a message pop up on the shared TV account. A name I didn't recognize had been added. Elle. It wasn't subtle. She was watching our shared shows on a different profile. Episodes we started together now had 2 dots beneath them. I removed the profile, changed the password, then went back to silence. 2 friends we used to see on weekends posted a photo. Game night at someone's apartment. Everyone tagged, except me. In the background, blurry but unmistakable, I saw her elbow resting on someone's knee, his hand near her hip. Someone commented, Glad you 2 finally found each other again. The thread was full of hearts. When her text finally came, ready to talk finally, I didn't reply. Just opened my laptop, logged into the drive I hadn't touched in years. Inside was a folder. Premarital contracts and assets. And within it, something she'd forgotten existed. I didn't text her back. Instead, I called someone I hadn't spoken to in years, my old roommate from grad school, now a family attorney in Albany. I sent him the files, the prenup, the emails, the receipts. He called me 2 hours later. Dean, this clause here, Section 12C, you remember adding it? I didn't. But when he read it aloud, I nearly laughed. It protected any premarital assets unless formally merged after marriage. The account she didn't know about, the one my grandmother opened for me when I was 12, was still in my name. And it had grown. I didn't make a move right away. Instead, I asked for a full audit. Quietly, cleanly. He connected me with a forensic accountant who specialized in cohabitation cases. She reviewed our shared purchases, subscriptions, even our taxes. Something's off, she said. There are charges on your joint card from months back, Airbnb, restaurants, gas, but none are near your home. I nodded. Landon lives in Charlotte. She didn't flinch, just said, Send me his name. I'll cross-reference. 3 days later, I received a report. 32 pages, timeline, dates, expenses. Landon's name popped up on 6 different receipts, all tied to our joint funds. And then the kicker, a wire transfer from our account to a travel agency in his name. I sent a copy to my lawyer. He asked one question. Do you want to go public or quiet? Quiet, I said. He smiled. Then let's file a protective claim, preserve the evidence and lock down withdrawals. That's when she broke no contact. Her number showed up again. Then her email. Then a DM. All short. All performative. I think we should talk about what happened. I still care about you, Dean. You were always the better one. She was testing the waters. Then came the twist. Her lawyer emailed mine with a formal cohabitation dispute, claiming I'd used joint resources to hide funds, that I intentionally sabotaged emotional reconciliation by misrepresenting my finances. They attached screenshots of our texts, selectively cropped, out of order. They even claimed emotional distress, said I shipped her belongings as an intimidation tactic. The silence was over. Friends started calling. Hey, is it true you kicked her out? One even said, she told me you changed the locks while she was out of town. I didn't defend myself, just forwarded everything to my lawyer. He called me that night. They're playing aggressive, hoping you'll back down. Will it work? I asked. Not if you stay patient. But then her mother called again. I need to ask, Dean, is any of it true? Her voice was different this time, less sad, more unsure. I told her to check her inbox. She did. Then she hung up. The next day I received a cease and desist. They accused me of harassment, of tracking her spending, of violating her privacy. That same afternoon I found out she filed a temporary injunction, freezing our joint account, the one I'd already emptied. I wasn't angry. I just took a walk. Same park I used to grade papers in on Sundays. I sat under the sycamore near the pond, watched a family take a photo, watched a dog dig up a pine cone like it was treasure, let the sun set without checking my phone. People started whispering. A colleague from the school sent me a voice memo. Dean, she's saying you emotionally manipulated her for years. Another wrote, just so you know, she's sharing screenshots in the book club group. Out of context. Looks bad. I didn't respond. Before the injunction hit, I visited the bank. The manager smiled politely. Everything okay with the account? I handed over my ID. It will be. I moved everything into a private account under my name. No drama, no notes. Just one signature and a glance at the clock, 4:43 p.m. The freeze hit the next morning at 10. I printed the contract. Section 12C in bold. I placed it in a red folder and set it beside the broken frame we never replaced. The photo inside was from our second anniversary. The glass cracked right across her face. I didn't fix it. When I got home, the envelope was there. No stamp, no return address, handwritten in lowercase letters. Inside, a photo, her, Landon, laughing, my cousin's backyard, not new. 3 months before she said, I need space. I looked out the window. A man in a gray hoodie turned the corner. I didn't move, just held the photo until my fingers went numb. I didn't tell anyone about the photo. Not my lawyer, not my cousin, not even myself, really. I just kept it in the red folder, behind Section 12C. The deposition was scheduled for a Thursday. She walked in with her lawyer, new nails, and a calm, rehearsed face. He held the file. She held nothing. Mine was thicker. When they started listing grievances, I didn't speak. My lawyer just listened, took notes, didn't flinch. They called me deceptive, said I'd created an environment of emotional coercion, said she had suffered years of internalized repression. Then came their leverage. She has evidence that Dean concealed assets during cohabitation. They smiled when they said it, like it was done. My lawyer waited, then reached for the folder. One tab, one clause, one signature. This account, he said, has been active since Dean was 12, never merged, protected under Clause 12C. Silence. Then he added, we also have evidence she used joint funds to finance unauthorized travel with a third party. He slid the receipts across the table, names, dates, amounts, Charlotte, gas, Airbnb, travel agency, Still no reaction. Until he added, "The third party was a former romantic partner." Her lawyer shifted. She didn't. She just blinked, twice, then adjusted her sleeve. The same sleeve that had brushed against Landon's in the photo. They took a break. 15 minutes. In the hallway, she came over. "You planned this," she said. I didn't respond. "You really hate me that much?" I looked at her for the first time. No. That's why I didn't say anything sooner. They didn't show up to mediation. Her lawyer emailed us a revised proposal 2 days later, less aggressive, no claim on the protected assets, and no mention of emotional distress. It was quiet, measured, like the storm had passed. But I wasn't finished. I requested a mutual agreement to dissolve all shared accounts, leases, and liabilities. She agreed. I mailed a check for her portion of the apartment sale. Rounded up. No letter. No comment. Just the check, folded in a plain envelope. Weeks later, I saw her mother at a grocery store. She looked tired. She asked if I was okay. I said yes. She nodded, said nothing more. But when I turned to leave, she said, "He was always around. We just didn't see it. I could have gone public. Could have sent the photo to friends, family, her work. Could have exposed every detail. But I didn't. Because what mattered was never the win. It was the line. And I didn't cross it." A week later, I got a package from my cousin. No note. Inside, the original photo, ripped clean down the center. Only Landon's side remained. I didn't hang the photo. Just placed it in the drawer beneath the window. Didn't even close the drawer all the way. The apartment felt different now. Quieter. Lighter. Same space. Different weight. I didn't redecorate. Didn't repaint. Just boxed the memories and donated the cushions. She used to say the couch was too firm. I never replaced it. I just stopped sitting on it. One morning I drove out to my father's cabin. First time in years. Fixed the door hinge. Cleaned the gutters. Left the cracked plate she'd once broken on the mantel. Didn't know why. Just did. I got a part-time job at the local library. Not for money, just something that made sense. I repaired bindings, replaced torn pages, said little, learned a lot. Once a boy asked why I used glue instead of tape. I said, "Because glue holds from the inside." He nodded like he understood. Some nights I still wake up thinking she's in the other room. Then I remember I'm alone. And that alone doesn't mean unfinished. The red folder stayed in the drawer. I never reopened it. Some stories don't need retelling. Last month I ran into her brother at a hardware store. He didn't speak, just nodded. I nodded back. Then I bought a new frame. Black walnut, clean edges, no photo, just the frame. Set it on the shelf across from my desk. People ask what I'll put in it. I tell them, not sure yet. She thought I needed closure. I just needed distance. The Gentleman's Revenge isn't loud, but it's always personal. If this felt personal, make it personal. Subscribe now, and don't miss tomorrow's story.